So about the question of the converts. So Islam is a faith in which anyone of their own choice, they can convert to Islam. So it's really important. The Quran says there is no force in conversion, by the way. If anyone is forcing anybody, that's not conversion. So this is mentioned in chapter 2, verse number 256. It says that there is no compulsion in faith. A person has the choice. So in this mosque, almost every week, every month, there are many conversions. People, they call over here and they say, you know what, I have been reading about Islam. I have a few questions. Can I come and sit down with the imam, with the scholar? And we have them come over here. We have small sessions like these. And after the sessions of their own choice, majority of them, they say, you know what, the oneness of God resonates with us. The comprehensive guidance of the Quran resonates with us. The concept of modesty of women resonates with us. Now we want to convert. So about 24% of the Muslims in the USA, they are converts to Islam. And in the USA, Islam is the fastest growing faith, according to CNN and Fox and Chicago Tribune and different media outlets. It is the fastest growing faith, which is paradoxical, by the way, right? Based upon the number of misconceptions people have, even then people are converting after they know what Islam is. Even more amazing is that 60% to 40% females to males ratio when it comes to conversion, by the way. So really briefly about Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So he was born in the city of Mecca in the year 570. So when he was born, as he was growing up, he was just an ordinary person. Until the age of 40, that's when Angel Gabriel was sent by God. And that's when he was appointed as a prophet. But before that time, he was still an amazing person, by the way. He was given the title of the most honest and the most truthful person. In Arabic, it is As-Sadiq and Al-Amin. So all of Arabia used to recognize him, and he had the credibility that the best person, the most credible, the most authentic, never lied, never cheated, uphold the promises. You know, like nowadays when the youth, when they have to introduce each other, they may say, you know, I like basketball, or I play video games, I'm good in Fortnite and whatnot, right? In those days, when they used to introduce him, they used to say, he is the most honest amongst us and he's the most truthful amongst us. So at the age of 40, God started to reveal passages of the Quran to him. So the whole Quran was revealed by God. It took about 23 years. So God could have given the whole Quran in one piece, but he wanted the Muslims and the Prophet to know the Quran, those passages, to process them and to practice them and to share with them. So it just becomes more manageable. So from the time of 610 CE all the way to 633 CE until he passed away, the passages of the Quran, they came. Sometimes chapters used to come, sometimes some verses used to come. So he memorized the whole thing. He helped his followers memorize it. And they wrote it down in his lifetime, by the way, in different bits and pieces. And so from that time up until our time, both in the memory and in the writing, the Quran has been passed down to us. So regarding the birthdays, just from the Islamic theological point of view, we are not supposed to celebrate the birthday of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, or Jesus, peace be upon him, or any prophet, not even our own birthdays, by the way, just from the religious point of view. But as Muslims are living here, there is a cultural influx and whatnot. Some Muslims, because of culture, they may celebrate birthdays. You know, Chuck E. Cheese and whatnot, right? People go there, and which is often you see it. So yeah, just from the cultural point of view, we don't. But you may see in the media, you may see in India, Pakistan, Malaysia, some Muslims are doing it because, you know, not every person practices Islam, its fundamentals. There's many things that also has to do with the cultural influence based upon where you live. So that's important for us to have a demarcation between the cultural practices from the pure teachings of Islam. Yes?
So if you could talk about the two holidays that we do recognize, the two Eids, I told them a little bit about that too.
Sure. So again, just as a follow-up on the celebrations, Muslims do celebrate two important days. So the very first day comes right after the 29 to 30 days of fasting. So the very next day after the month of fasting is a day of celebration. Just to recognize the wonderful blessings that God has given to us. in the form of the food and the health and the family and for all of humanity. So that's one celebration. The second celebration is we have also aligns with our Jewish and the Christian friends, that has to do with the person of Abraham, peace be upon him. So the story of Abraham and his sacrificial son is also mentioned in the Quran, by the way. So that day in which that happened, Muslims also recognize it and we celebrate it, and we also remember that how we should also sacrifice for God and for humanity to make humanity, better humanity.